Hello, gorgeous mama, and welcome to episode 3 of the Abundant Mother podcast. Today, we're going to get into a very juicy topic, and I'm going to hit you with the headline really early on. Loving motherhood is not the same as losing yourself in it. I'm just going to say that one more time. Loving motherhood is not the same as losing yourself in it. And I know that it is super easy to do, especially in today's day and age where everything is so fast paced and there's so many expectations that we have as mothers to keep up with it all. But the one thing that society's forgotten to tell you is that loving yourself and finding peace within yourself is the number one most important job that you can have for your children. So as I'm talking about this right now, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there's a viral reel on Instagram that pops up where there is a mom and it's like, okay, being a mom in the 90s, my kid was fed and they're tucked into bed. And the mom is like, yeah, winning. And then it flips to today. And there's the mom and it's like winning as mom in 2024. And all of these various pops come up onto the screen and it's like, did my kid eat organic food today? Did I limit the screen time? Did I take onus when I yelled at them? Did they drink enough water? What exactly are they talking about and what are they conversing when they're around their friends? Did I have any me time to myself? And like 40 bubbles pop up. So I think that it's safe to say that our expectations as for ourselves and for a society has raised just a little. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't think I ever went to school with a water bottle when I was growing up. In fact, I don't know if I ever drank water. I remember like at meal times, of course, but definitely not being like stacked up with a ice cold Yeti with fresh ice cubes in it every day. And we can laugh about it and we can say like, wow, we really as a society I think it's important for our kids to drink water. And so that is an instance where we have grown, but it also puts on a lot of expectation on us, right? I know that I feel this expectation when I'm packing my kids' lunch every single day and taking out their lunch every single night. And you might be feeling that too, like, oh, here we go again, like back into the shuffle of all these things. But even though we may not be creating Martha Stewart-like cuisine in these lunch boxes, the fact that you have this intention, the fact that you're putting this all together with love is such a beautiful thing. So as you spend your time thinking like, oh my God, do I need to make this better? Or how can I give them a better experience? I want to kind of flip the script with you for a minute. What would it look like for you to give yourself your own self-care? And I know that self-care is such a buzzword and you could be like, ugh, Alexa, like, do we even really need to talk about this right now? Like, I don't even have the time to think about self-care. But I want to frame it to you in this way. We all have the time. We are all gifted the same amount of hours and minutes in every single day. And we have people on the planet that are walking around making millions of dollars in one day. And they have the exact same amount of time as someone that's making nothing. I'm using that analogy to show you the stark contrast of what is actually possible in the days in which we are given. So before you go and tell me that you don't have the time, know that I hear that and I hear that message. But it is imperative for you to find that time. So as you're hearing this, and honestly, you tuning into this podcast and this specific episode alone is you creating the time. So acknowledge yourself for that. And then we're going to walk it out just a little bit more. Is there 5 minutes that you can find just taking one breath? Like, I am here, I am safe, my kids are safe, and I am grateful. Can you find that breath a few moments throughout the day? to help ground you, to help fill up your cup? I think the answer is yes. Because don't forget that analogy that I showed you about the 90s mom versus the 2024 mom. The 90s mom didn't have social media. So how much time are you spending on social media looking at all these accounts, looking at all these reels, when you could be finding a little bit more peace within yourself? See, social media does such a beautiful thing because it allows us to connect with one another, keep up with friends that we were in high school or college with, see how their families are growing, all of this great stuff. It shows us resources, ideas, and inspiration. And at the same time, it can get us into this comparative culture. It can get us into a competition mindset. And it can get us into thinking, oh, I should be doing that. Oh, I could be doing that. Oh, she's doing this, so that must mean I must. Instead of spending that time in the comparison culture and also in the consumption mode, right? So it's funny because as I'm talking about this, it's like ping, on the way to school this morning, I was having my daughter listen to an empowered female playlist. And my oldest daughter is the definition of empowered. I know this at 4 years old. She is strong-willed. She speaks her truth. She sets her boundaries. And she literally is not sorry for any of it. So there's definitely ways that I learn from her. So she loves this empowered female playlist. And an old school Britney Spears song popped up, right? Circus. And she basically says there's only two type of people in the world, ones that are entertainers and ones that are watchers. And I take this and send this to you now in the life of social media. There are the entertainers, the creators, the inspirers, the ones that are putting this content out into the world. And then there's people that are watching this and consuming it. There's no shame or harm in the consumption, but be mindful of how much you are doing that. And actually know that the ones that are creating the content that you're watching are not spending a lot of time in comparison. They're not spending a lot of time looking at what other people are doing because they're so busy putting out their own content and their own selves. So think about that when you are looking for those few minutes of time to dedicate back to yourself. Even in my social media use, can I gift myself back just a few minutes? The other time to think about it is when you're in the car, okay? I love rocking out to music, and there's been definite times in my life where I've dropped off my kids at school and then I literally throw on throwbacks, blast the music, and I'm like, okay, here I am back in the early 2000s again, and I'm living my life. And to me, that's a vibe that feels good, that's self-care, that is me loving myself. And then there's times recently where I'm like, you know what? I want to listen to a podcast. I want to engage in higher learning. I want to treat my car as if it's the office because this is the time in motherhood that I am gifted and given. So that has shifted and changed throughout the days and months and years, but I absolutely use that time when I'm alone in the car as self-care. It may look and feel a little bit different, but one thing is for sure, I am plugging in one way or another. So it's another space and another time for you to do that as well. And then to give back to yourself, to love yourself right before bed, okay? Just as we close down the tabs in our phone, right? When we're done with something, we close out the window. We have to do the same thing at night. And it doesn't have to be this big, long, drawn out thing, but just simply imagine as you're going to close your eyes, just going, oh, that conversation, swipe up. Okay, that feeling that I had, swipe up. Just gonna let it go. I'm gonna put it away and get it out of my space. Because when you're in your state of rest before you go to sleep, it's so important for you to recharge. You don't want to bring in the feelings, the anxiety from that previous day into your next day. You want to go to sleep with a clean slate. That way you can wake up the next day with a fresh start. So I gave you 3 really tangible ways for you to gift back to yourself and how you could love yourself in motherhood instead of losing yourself in it. I know that you can find the space given those tiny and small ways that you can implement this into your life. Another way for you to really gift back to yourself is to join us inside the Abundant Moms course. The Abundant Moms course is like nothing else out there right now. What we have done is woven together the wisdom, the teachings, and the practices of over 15 doctors, teachers, healers, coaches, and leaders who are also mothers and grandmothers. And what that means is there's not only logic, but there is intuitive living, energetics, and healing work passed down from generation to generation, interwoven into this one space for you. You will learn much more than just those 3 ways that I gave you now on how and what it really means to love yourself in motherhood. We are often so focused on our kids. We're often so focused on what programs they're in, what friends that they have, what conversations they're having. Do they have this skill set yet? Have they met this milestone? That we forget about ourselves. We also have to check into our own self. Are we meeting that milestone for us? What are our conversations like with our friends? What is our relationship like with our body? Have we moved it? The Abundant Moms course will teach you that and so much more. And it will connect you with moms that are out there in the world right now that are committed to reclaiming and finding themselves again. And there is nothing that can be done without a sisterhood and a web of support, which is why this is built in for you. So if you have any questions or anything that comes up, inevitably it will while you're doing this work, we are surrounding you and we are supporting you. Check out the show notes in order to join and find out more about the Abundant Moms course and all the other offerings that I have to help lead you through motherhood and beyond. I love you so, so much. Have a very beautiful day.